The elevator doors closed, and I realized I was trapped with the man I'd spent 3 years trying to destroy. Marcus Washington stood in the corner, his hazel eyes meeting mine as the lights flickered once, twice, then died completely. In the darkness, his voice cut through the silence. "Counselor, it seems fate has a sense of humor." I pressed myself against the cold metal wall, my heart pounding. This was the last place I wanted to be. With him. Alone. Because despite everything he'd done, despite the case I'd built, despite my father's ruined company, there was something about Marcus Washington that terrified me more than his billions or his reputation. It was the way he looked at me like he could see straight through every wall I'd built. Welcome to our channel, where we bring you emotional stories that stay with you. If you're new here, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you never miss a story. And if you're returning, thank you. Your support means everything. Now, stay until the end, drop a comment with your thoughts, and let's begin. My name is Kennedy Moore, and I'm a corporate attorney in Atlanta, 34 years old, and I've dedicated the last 3 years of my life to one singular purpose: bringing down Marcus Washington. Most people know him as the billionaire CEO who turned a small investment firm into an empire. Forbes called him a genius. Business Insider called him ruthless. I call him the man who destroyed my father. 3 years ago, my dad owned a mid-sized manufacturing company. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. Built from the ground up over 25 years. Marcus Washington Corporation came in with a hostile takeover bid, bought out the board from under my father, gutted the company, and sold it for parts. My dad lost everything. His business, his savings, his dignity. 6 months later, he had a heart attack. He survived, but he was never the same. The man who used to take me fishing on Sundays and make terrible jokes at dinner became a shell. Quiet, defeated, broken. So I made my mission to find something, anything, that would prove Marcus Washington built his empire on lies and manipulation. I went to law school, already having my degree in business, specialized in corporate law, and spent every free moment building a case. The legal conference in Atlanta was supposed to be routine. 3 days of panels, networking, and continuing education credits. I didn't expect him to be there. But there he was on day 2, sitting in the back row of a session on corporate ethics. The irony wasn't lost on me. Marcus Washington, the man who had no ethics, listening to a panel about business morality. He was tall, maybe 6'2", with warm tan skin and dark hair cut short and neat. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my rent. But it was his eyes that always got me. Hazel, sharp, intelligent. Eyes that seemed to calculate everything, everyone. When the session ended, I grabbed my leather portfolio and headed for the exit, hoping to avoid him. No such luck. Counselor Moore. His voice stopped me in the hallway. Deep, smooth, with a confidence that came from never being told no. I turned slowly. "Mr. Washington, I didn't know you'd be attending." He stepped closer, hands in his pockets, completely relaxed, like we were old friends instead of enemies. "It's a public conference." I kept my voice cool, professional. "Drew." He smiled slightly. "I've been reading about your work. That case you won last month against Brennan Industries. Impressive." I didn't want his compliments. "If you'll excuse me." "Kennedy." The way he said my first name made something in my chest tighten. "We should talk. We have nothing to discuss." "Your father's company. We could discuss that." My jaw clenched. "Don't. I know what you think of me." His expression shifted, something almost vulnerable crossing his face. "And maybe you're right, but there's more to that story than you know." "I know enough." Before he could respond, the fire alarm blared through the building. People started moving toward the exits, voices rising in confusion. A voice came over the intercom saying it was just a drill. "Remain calm. Use the stairs, not the elevators." Marcus gestured toward the stairwell. "After you." I moved toward the stairs with everyone else, but the crowd was thick, slow. I glanced at the elevator. Empty. The doors were open. They said not to use the elevators. Marcus said, reading my mind, "It's just a drill. I'm on the 14th floor. I'm not walking down 14 flights in these heels." I stepped into the elevator before he could argue. To my annoyance, he followed. The doors closed. I pressed the lobby button. The elevator lurched downward. Then the lights flickered. That's not good, I muttered. The elevator shuddered, stopped, and the lights went completely black. Perfect. Just perfect. I heard Marcus move in the darkness, his voice calm. Don't panic. It's probably just a power issue from the drill. I'm not panicking. I pulled out my phone for light. No signal. Of course. There should be an emergency button. His voice came from near the panel. I heard him press it. Nothing. He pressed it again. Still nothing. Great. I leaned against the wall, trying to slow my breathing. The space suddenly felt smaller, the air thicker. You okay? His tone shifted, concerned. Fine. You don't sound fine. I'm trapped in an elevator with a man I've spent 3 years trying to destroy. Forgive me if I'm not thrilled. A pause. Then, you really hate me, don't you? Yes, because of your father's company. You took everything from him. Kennedy. He moved closer. I could feel him even though I couldn't see him. I didn't make that decision alone. The board voted. You influenced them. You always do. You're right. His admission surprised me. I did, because the company was failing. Your father was bleeding money, making poor investments, refusing to adapt. We offered him a buyout. He refused, so we went around him. That doesn't make it right. No, his voice was quiet. It doesn't, but it was business. It was his life. Silence filled the elevator. My phone light started to dim, battery dying. Tell me about him, Marcus said suddenly. Your father, what was he like before? Why do you care? Because you do. I didn't want to talk to him about my dad. Didn't want to share those memories with the man who'd ruined him. But in the dark, trapped, with nothing else to do, the words came anyway. He was funny, kind. He used to take me fishing every Sunday morning on Lake Lanier. We'd get up at 5, stop at the diner for biscuits and gravy, then spend hours on the water. He taught me everything. How to bait a hook, how to read the water, how to be patient. My voice caught. After he lost the company, we never went again. He said he couldn't see the point anymore. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix it. I know. My phone light died completely. Pure darkness now. I had a father, too, Marcus said softly. He died when I was 12. Car accident. Left my mom with 3 kids and a mountain of debt. I watched her work 3 jobs. Watched her break herself trying to keep us fed and housed. I swore I'd never let that happen again. That I'd make enough money that my family would never struggle. I didn't want to hear this. I didn't want him to be human. So you became ruthless instead. I said, yes, no hesitation. I did what I had to do, made hard choices, hurt people along the way, including your father. And I can't take that back, Kennedy. I can't undo it. But I need you to know it wasn't personal. It was never about destroying him. It was about survival. That's not good enough. I know. He moved even closer. I could feel the warmth of him now. Could smell his cologne, something expensive and woodsy. But it's the truth. Time passed. Could have been 10 minutes. Could have been 30. In the darkness, I lost track. Can I ask you something? Marcus's voice broke the silence. What? Why corporate law? Why not something else? Because I wanted to understand how people like you operate. Wanted to learn the system, so I could beat you at your own game. Have you? Beaten me? Not yet, but I will. He laughed quietly. I believe you. Another stretch of silence. Then the elevator shuddered, lurched, and the lights flickered back on. I blinked against the sudden brightness. Marcus stood maybe 2 feet away. His hazel eyes locked on mine. His tie was loosened, his hair slightly mussed. He looked less like a billionaire and more like a man. The elevator started moving down. Slowly, but moving. Looks like we're saved, I said, trying to sound relieved. Kennedy. He didn't move. I meant what I said. I'm sorry about your father. The elevator dinged. Lobby. The door started to open. I grabbed my portfolio, ready to step out and never look back. But Marcus's hand caught my wrist. Wait. I turned, ready to snap at him, but the look on his face stopped me. One drink, he said. Give me 1 hour to explain everything. The takeover, the decisions, all of it. If you still hate me after, I'll leave you alone. I'll even help you with your case if that's what you want. Why would you do that? Because I'm tired of being your villain. And because in that elevator, for the first time in 3 years, you talked to me like I was a person, not a monster. I want more of that. I should have said no, should have walked away. Everything in me screamed to run. But something in his eyes, something raw and honest, made me hesitate. 1 hour, I heard myself say, that's it. A smile crossed his face. Relief, maybe? There's a hotel bar across the street. Quiet, private. We walked through the lobby in silence. Outside, the Atlanta heat hit us like a wall. The hotel was exactly where he said, an upscale place with a dimly lit bar that smelled like leather and expensive whiskey. We took a corner booth. He ordered scotch, neat. I ordered red wine. Talk, I said when the drinks arrived. And he did. He told me everything. The numbers, the meetings, the board discussions. How my father had refused every offer, every compromise. How the company was weeks from bankruptcy when they stepped in. How the buyout, though brutal, had actually saved jobs, saved pensions. I didn't want to believe him, but I'd seen the financial records. I knew the company was struggling. Your father was a good man, Marcus said, swirling his scotch. But he was a bad businessman, and I couldn't save both the man and the company. I had to choose. So you chose profit. I chose 300 employees who needed paychecks. I chose families who needed insurance. I chose to make the hard call your father couldn't. My wine glass was empty. I didn't remember drinking it. I still don't forgive you, I said. I don't expect you to. He leaned forward. But maybe you can understand me a little better. Our eyes met across the table. In the low light, his hazel eyes looked darker, more intense. Why does it matter? I asked, why do you care what I think? Because you're the only person in 3 years who's looked at me and seen past the money. You see me as I actually am. Flawed. Human. Capable of mistakes. He paused. And because every time I see you in a courtroom or across a conference room, something in me wakes up. You challenge me, Kennedy. You make me want to be better. My heart was beating too fast. That's not fair. I know. The bartender came by, asking if we wanted another round. Marcus looked at me, question in his eyes. I know. The bartender came by, asking if we wanted another round. Marcus looked at me, question in his eyes. I should have said no. Should have left right then. Yes, I said instead. Quick pause. If you're feeling this story, hype it so others can find it. Comment where you're watching from. Now back to the story. 2 drinks became 3. 3 became 4. We talked about everything. His childhood in Detroit, my years in law school, his first business failure that nobody knew about, my fear that I'd never be good enough to actually win against him. The bar grew quieter as people filtered out. I checked my phone. It's almost midnight. I should go, I said, but I didn't move. Should you? Marcus's voice was lower now, rougher around the edges from the scotch. Yes. This was 1 hour. It's been 4. Time flies. He smiled, and it wasn't his business smile. This one was real, reaching his eyes. Come with me? Where? I have a suite upstairs. Top floor. We can talk more. Away from the crowd. Every rational part of my brain screamed no. This was Marcus Washington. The enemy. The man I'd sworn to destroy. But the wine had softened my edges, and the conversation had cracked something open inside me. For the first time in 3 years, I wasn't thinking about revenge or justice or my father's broken company. I was thinking about the way Marcus looked at me. Like I mattered. Like I was more than just another obstacle in his path. Okay, I said. We took the elevator up. Different elevator. But still, the confined space brought back that feeling from earlier. The awareness of him standing close. The heat of his presence. The suite was on the 20th floor. When he opened the door, I stepped into a space that was pure luxury. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Atlanta. The city lights spread out like diamonds on black velvet. Modern furniture in grays and whites. A full bar in the corner. A bedroom visible through an open door. Nice place, I said, suddenly nervous. It's not mine, just renting for the conference. He moved the windows. But the view is worth it. I join him, keeping a careful distance between us. The city stretched out below, alive and glowing. Kennedy. His voice made me turn. He was closer now. When had he moved? Can I be honest with you? Haven't you been? Not completely. He took a breath. I noticed you 3 years ago. At the first hearing for your father's case. You walked into that courtroom in a navy suit, your hair pulled back, fire in your eyes. You looked at me like I was the devil himself. And I thought, that's the most alive I've felt in years. My mouth went dry. Marcus. Every case since then, every time our paths crossed, I found myself looking for you, wondering what you'd say, how you'd challenge me. You became the most interesting part of my day. He stepped closer. And tonight, trapped in that elevator, I realized something. I don't want to be your enemy anymore. I don't want to be the villain in your story. Then what do you want to be? He reached out, his fingers barely touching my cheek. The gentlest contact, but it sent electricity through my entire body. I want to know you, the real you, not the attorney who hates me, not the daughter seeking revenge. Just Kennedy, the woman who loves fishing and bad coffee and jazz music. How do you know I love jazz? I pay attention. His thumb traced my jawline. I've been paying attention to you for 3 years. I should have stepped back. Should have remembered who he was, what he'd done. But his touch was gentle, his eyes honest, and I was so tired of carrying hate. This is crazy, I whispered. I know. We can't do this. We can do anything we want. His other hand came up to cup my face. Kennedy, I'm not asking for forever. I'm not asking you to forgive me or forget what happened. I'm asking for tonight. One night where we're not enemies. Where we're just two people who've been circling each other for years. Finally brave enough to admit there's something here. And tomorrow? Tomorrow you can go back to hating me. You can build your case. You can try to destroy me. I won't stop you. His forehead touched mine. But tonight, let me see you. All of you. Not the armor, not the walls. Just you. His words echoed in the quiet suite. You belong to me tonight. Let me see all of you. And God help me, I wanted it. Wanted to stop fighting. Stop thinking. Stop being the woman who carried 3 years of anger and pain. Just for tonight. I wanted to be seen. Okay, I breathed. He kissed me then. Soft at first, testing, asking permission with every movement. I kissed him back, my hands finding his chest, feeling his heart racing as fast as mine. The kiss deepened. His hands moved my waist, pulling me closer. I let myself melt into him, let myself feel instead of think. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against mine again. Stay, he whispered. Stay tonight. I nodded, beyond words. He led me to the couch, sat down and pulled me beside him. But he didn't push, didn't rush. Instead, he asked me questions. Real questions. What made me laugh? Old movies, especially the bad ones from the 80s. What scared me? Never being enough. What did I want that I'd never told anyone? To write a book someday about justice and redemption and the gray areas in between. I asked him questions too. What kept him up at night? The fear that he'd become the kind of man his father would be ashamed of. What made him happy? Quiet mornings with good coffee and classical music. What did he regret most? Not finding a way to save my father's dignity along with his company. Hours passed like minutes. We talked about everything and nothing. He made me laugh with stories about his first disastrous business pitch. I made him laugh with stories about my disaster of a first trial. Somewhere around 3 a.m, I found myself curled into his side, his arm around my shoulders, feeling safer than I'd felt in years. Kennedy, he said softly, thank you. For what? For giving me tonight. For seeing me, He pressed a kiss to the top of my head. You're extraordinary, you know that? I tilted my face up to look at him. His hazel eyes were soft in the dim light, vulnerable in a way I'd never seen. So are you, I admitted, even though I don't want you to be. He smiled. I'll take it. He kissed me again, slower this time, deeper. His hands tangled in my hair, and I let myself get lost in the feeling. In him. When he pulled back, his voice was rough. Tell me to stop if this is too much. Don't stop. So he didn't. What happened next was tender and intense, and nothing like I'd imagined. He touched me like I was precious, like he'd been waiting years for this moment. Maybe he had been. Maybe we both had. Afterward, we lay tangled together in his bed, the city lights casting shadows across the ceiling. His fingers traced lazy patterns on my shoulder. What happens now? I asked quietly. I don't know. His voice was honest. But I don't regret this. Do you? I thought about my father, about the case I'd built, about 3 years of anger and planning. I thought about everything that should make me regret this moment. No, I said, I don't. He pulled me closer. Then that's enough for now. I fell asleep in his arms, in the bed of the man I was supposed to destroy, feeling more at peace than I had in 3 years. I woke up to sunlight streaming through the windows and the smell of coffee. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Then it all came rushing back. The elevator, the bar, the suite, Marcus. I sat up, pulling the sheet around me. Marcus stood by the window, already dressed in dark slacks and a white button-down, holding 2 coffee cups. He turned when he heard me move. Good morning. His voice was gentle, cautious, like he wasn't sure what version of me he'd be getting today. I wasn't sure either. Morning, I said. He walked over, handed me a cup. Black, 2 sugars. I remembered. Of course he did. He paid attention. I took a sip. Perfect. Thank you. He sat on the edge of the bed, careful to keep distance between us. Kennedy, about last night. Don't. I set the cup down. Don't apologize. Don't tell me it was a mistake. I wasn't going to. He reached out, tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. I was going to say it was the best night I've had in years. And I meant what I said. I don't regret it. But I also know reality is waiting outside that door. Your case, your father, everything that makes this complicated. I looked at him, really looked at him. In the morning light, he looked tired, older somehow. Umans. I don't know what to do. I admitted. Part of me still wants to destroy you. But another part. I trailed off. Another part thinks maybe you're not the monster I made you out to be. Maybe you're just a man who made hard choices. Maybe we're more alike than I wanted to admit. He smiled sadly. We are alike, both fighters, both protecting the people we love, both willing to do whatever it takes. So what now? Marcus stood, walked back to the window. Now I'm going to tell you something that could destroy me, because you deserve the truth, all of it. My heart started racing. What do you mean? He turned to face me. The takeover of your father's company. There were irregularities, things that weren't exactly legal, bribes to board members, falsified reports to speed up the process. If you dig deep enough, if you know where to look, you'll find it. I stared at him. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm tired of carrying it. Because you deserve justice for your father. And because I trust you to do the right thing with the information. The right thing being, whatever you decide. You could take this to the authorities, destroy my company, put me in prison. You'd be within your rights. He walked back to me, knelt beside the bed so we were eye level. Or you could help me make it right. Not erase what I did, but balance the scale somehow. How? Your father. What would help him? What would give him back some dignity? I thought about my dad, about the shell he'd become. A job, not charity, but real work. Something that makes him feel useful again. Then I'll give him one. VP of Community Outreach for my foundation. Real salary, real responsibilities. He'd be working with communities that have been hurt by corporate takeovers, helping them rebuild, turning his pain into purpose. Tears burned my eyes. You do that. I do that. And more. I'll set up a fund for other business owners who've been displaced. I'll change how my company handles acquisitions. I'll be better. Not perfect, but better. He took my hand. But only if you want me to. Only if you think it's enough. I looked at our joined hands. 3 years ago, I would have laughed at this moment, would have called it manipulation. But I'd spent the night with this man, seen past the billionaire to the person underneath. And I believe him. It's not enough, I said quietly. His face fell. But it's a start, I continued. It's a start. And if you mean it, if you really change things, then maybe someday it will be enough. Hope flickered in his eyes. Does that mean you'll help me? It means I won't destroy you. Yet, it means I'll watch what you do. And if you follow through, if you actually make things right, then maybe we can figure out what this is between us. And if I don't follow through, then I'll finish what I started. I'll take you down, Marcus. I'll use everything you just told me, and I won't feel bad about it. He smiled. I wouldn't expect anything less. He stood. Pull me up with him. We stood there, still holding hands, the morning sun painting us both in gold. I should go, I said. I need to think, process all of this. I understand. He didn't let go of my hand. Can I call you? Next week sometime. Yeah, you can call. He walked me to the door. Before I left, he pulled me back, kissed me one more time. Soft, sweet, full of promise. Thank you, he whispered against my lips, for giving me a chance. For seeing me, don't make me regret it. I won't. I left the suite, took the elevator down, walked through the lobby and out into the Atlanta morning. The conference was over. I'd go home, back to my life, back to reality. But everything had changed. 2 weeks later, I got a call from my dad. He was crying, happy crying. Marcus had offered him the job. Dad had accepted. He said it felt like coming back to life. 3 weeks after that, Marcus announced a new fund, $50 million to help displaced business owners. The news covered it. People called him a hero. I called him and told him it was a good start. A month after our night together, we had dinner. Just dinner, nothing more. We talked about his plans, my cases, the weather, normal things, easy things. But at the end of the night, when he walked me in my car, he kissed me again, and I let him. It wasn't simple. It wasn't easy. Some days I still wanted to hate him. Some days I remembered everything he'd done and wondered if I was being a fool. But other days, I saw the changes he was making. Saw my father smiling again. Saw businesses being saved instead of destroyed. Saw Marcus becoming the man he told me he wanted to be. 6 months later, we were dating. Officially, my friends thought I was crazy. His business partners thought he was distracted. We didn't care. A year later, he proposed. On a dock on Lake Lanier, at sunrise, with fishing rods and terrible diner coffee. My father was there. He'd planned the whole thing with Marcus. They become friends. Somehow, bonded over their shared love of me and fishing and second chances. I said yes. Not because I'd forgiven everything. Not because the past didn't matter. But because I'd learned that people are complicated. That villains can become heroes. That hate can transform into something else entirely if you're brave enough to let it. Marcus Washington destroyed my father's company. That's a fact I'll never forget. But he also gave my father purpose again. Gave me love I didn't know I needed. Gave us both a second chance at happiness. Life isn't simple. People aren't all good or all bad. Sometimes the person who hurt you the most can also be the person who saves you. That night in the elevator, trapped in the dark with my enemy, I thought my life was over. Turned out it was just beginning. We got married the following spring. Small ceremony. Just family and close friends. My father walked me down the aisle. Marcus cried when he saw me. I cried too. At the reception, Dad pulled me aside. You sure about this, baby girl? I looked across the room at my husband, at the man who'd gone from villain to partner to love of my life. Yeah, Dad, I'm sure. Good, because he makes you happy. And that's all I ever wanted. He makes you happy too. the job, the work you're doing. He does. Funny how life works out. Dad hugged me tight. I'm proud of you, Kennedy, for being strong enough to hate him and brave enough to love him. That night, in our hotel room, Marcus pulled me close and whispered those words that started everything. You belong to me tonight. Let me see all of you. But this time, I whispered back, and you belong to me. Always. He smiled against my lips. Always. It wasn't the ending I'd planned 3 years ago when I started building my case. It wasn't the revenge I dreamed of. It was better. Because revenge might have felt good for a moment, but this love built on honesty and second chances, and choosing each other every single day, this felt right. Marcus Washington took something from me once, but then he gave me everything, and that made all the difference. 5 years later, we sat on that same dock on Lake Lanier. Our daughter, 3 years old with her father's hazel eyes and my determination, ran along the water's edge while my dad taught her how to skip stones. Marcus's arm was around my shoulders. Do you ever regret it? He asked quietly. Choosing this instead of destroying me? I thought about it. I really thought about it. No, I said finally, because destroying you would have destroyed me too. This way, we both got to become better. I love you, Kennedy Washington. I love you too, even though you're still insufferable sometimes. He laughed. Only sometimes? Our daughter squealed as she finally got a stone to skip. Dad cheered. Marcus stood when to join them. I watched my family, the family I never expected to have, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Life is strange. The man you swear to destroy might end up being the man you can't live without. The night that starts in darkness might lead to the brightest future. All you have to do is be brave enough to let it. What would you rate the story? Drop 0 to 10 in the comments right now. If this story moved you, hit subscribe for more emotional journeys every day. And if it truly touched your heart, consider leaving a super thanks. Your support helps us create more stories like this. Every contribution, big or small, means a world. Ready for the next story? It's even more dramatic than this one. Click now. Thank you for being part of this journey.